Tell you what, Neil, 59-0 over Maryland. Okay, now I know a lot of Penn State fans were thinking this might be a close game. I kind of thought Penn State could take control of it, but 59-0. It's now 163-6 over the last 3 meetings. How is that possible against? I mean, this isn't a nothing program here.
I think Maryland just really chokes against Penn State. Really, I don't like to use that word, but I don't know how you can explain losing to Ohio State 52-51 last year, late in the year here, and you haven't scored a touchdown against Penn State in 3 years. I know you want this to be a rivalry, and in some ways for Maryland it would be the rival on their Big Ten schedule.
Right.
I just can't believe it. I really don't think Maryland is that bad.
Right.
And we'll see how the season plays out, but they were that bad tonight.
Yeah, look, I mean, sports, sometimes you just see matchups. I was talking about this with some folks in the press box. I love college basketball. There's really no reason for Penn State basketball to match up well against Michigan State every year. Michigan State's a Final Four caliber team. Penn State's not even a tournament team. But every year Penn State plays well against Sparty. I can't explain it. For whatever reason, when Maryland lines up, is it the speed? Is it the size? Is it the strength? Is it the depth? Is it the mindset?
I think it's the mindset. I do think Maryland has some speed. I mean, hey, clearly, this was Penn State's best game, and they played very, very well. Maryland just, killed itself early with interceptions, penalties, and that's just the things you can't do.
Right.
When you have a big crowd. This was a big deal for Maryland. All the people outside were excited coming in, thinking maybe they could play with Penn State, and then immediately you turn the ball over a couple times and you're making foolish penalties.
8 penalties in the first 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's broach that for just 1 second about college football, college sports in general, the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
When you're Penn State and some other programs around the country, you're used to being in big games. You're going to get everybody's best effort. Is this what makes college sports difficult for the programs that are trying to catch up? Because for them to play in a big game, they've got to have everything go their way. They've got to be ready. And this Maryland team clearly was not ready to play.
But why not? I mean, you have a new coach and you have an open date. You had a good win over Syracuse. Yeah, granted, you lost to Temple, but Temple is a representative program these last 5 years, certainly. I don't know why Maryland wouldn't have been ready. The first 2 years that Maryland was in the Big Ten, this was a 1-point game. Now, I realized Penn State was coming off the sanctions and things were a little different, but I just can't get my arms around the fact that it's 59-0 or 66-3.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be a long soul-searching for Maryland. But, hey, let's look at Penn State.
Yeah.
Sean Clifford has really, really established himself as I don't think Tommy Stevens could have been playing any better
No way.
than this. And, the running back situation but the defense was tremendous, and the depth on this team is terrific.
26 of 31 for 398 yards, and he left with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter for Sean Clifford. If he'd have played a few more series, he would have broken Christian Hackenberg's record of 454. And not only that, he ran for a touchdown. He had a 25-yard scramble. He's doing the things with his feet that keep the defenses honest enough for him to be able to light you up with his arm.
Well, right. I mean, he scrambled around. He keeps his eyes downfield. He flipped the ball over to Journey Brown. I didn't think he necessarily threw a lot of really great deep balls. He didn't really have to throw the deep ball. That's what they were trying to do against Pitt, and it really wasn't working. He had the medium pass game going tonight, but he got the ball to his playmakers, Hamler, Journey Brown, Noah Kane, these guys, and they made plays.
All right, so look, in this kind of game, you're always going to look at the offense, but this was Penn State's first shutout of Maryland since 1970. This defense, the speed.
Yeah.
Now, when they face a team that can throw the ball really well, I can't wait to see that, although sometimes you don't see it much in the Big Ten. But this defense, I'll tell you, what's the game plan that these teams are going to have to try to move the ball on Penn State's defense?
Well, I think they'll try to keep the ball. Maryland, and initially looked like they were going to try to run the ball. They have some speed with McFarland on the edge. And they threw the ball 24 times for 68 yards.
Yeah, right.
Penn State had 30 first downs. Maryland had 10. I think Maryland fell apart in a lot of ways, and really lost their composure. But I think Penn State was to credit for a lot of that.
Okay, so Penn State is really, really, really good, right? Do we know that for sure?
Not necessarily. I mean, you got to keep proving yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to go on the road to Iowa. I'm expecting a much bigger test. We'll see. They got a noon start with Purdue, assuming they can get everybody in the stadium on time for that one. We don't know what Purdue, as we tape this Friday night. We've got a big day of college football tomorrow. Purdue has got a game with Minnesota at home. It's kind of a toss-up game. So, but that guy's done a pretty good job at Purdue.
Hey, look, with Penn State's defense as good as it is and what we think, if the offense can get to 30 points, this could be a really good team. Now, getting to 30 points against some of these other teams on the schedule might be different, but they've taken steps. Are they there yet? No, but they've taken steps.
Well, hey, coming into this game, you scratch Idaho. Penn State had not put together anything close to a complete game, and they did that tonight. So how that, they've taken into October now. This is, they're going into the rest of the Big Ten schedule with as much momentum as they really can expect to have.
I just can't. 163-6 over that's staggering. Like I said earlier, this is not a nothing program, but it just goes to show Penn State. James Franklin seems to like beating this team for some reason.
It's a big game, for sure. He was on the staff.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.